Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Stephanie.
I'm Tom.
Hey, we're going to travel, or pretend to travel. We're going to be talking about a really cool area that has something to do with a popular anime that people follow called Attack on Titan. I'm not into anime or comic books. Sorry, guys, but those who are, and we've got a lot of listeners who love this stuff. I personally have some Taiwanese friends that love these things, a couple of kids in the Yen family who love this stuff. They'll love hearing about some of these things. Of course, we're going to be speaking about them in English, but you can learn some of the words, that you're interested in English. And I've always thought that was the best way to learn, Tom. If you are learning another language, pick a subject that you love. Like for me, it was baseball. And so I learned a lot just by watching baseball games. And I was willing to sit and listen and learn because I like the subject. So if you really want to learn something well, if you love music, then listen to more music songs in English or listen to watch more movies or cartoons about some subject. In the language you're trying to learn, you'll pick it up faster.
But I hate to break the bad news to all of you, but this unit is not about anime so much. It's actually about this town in Germany that you may have seen in Attack on Titan, in the comic books, in the manga, or in the movies or TV shows. And so a lot of people, of course, are attracted to that aspect of this German town called Nordlingen. I hope I said that right.
Nordlingen, yeah.
And, of course, there are lots of other things to see if you go to this town in Germany as well. So let's talk about what some of those attractions are. Let's travel to Nordlingen right now.
Every anime or comic book fan has imagined venturing into the landscapes of their favorite tales. For fans of Attack on Titan, this fantasy comes to life in Nordlingen, a German town dating back to the Middle Ages. This compact town presents a delightful walking tour for visitors. At the town center, one can climb St. George's Church and witness the well-preserved medieval city walls from above. These walls, enclosing houses with orange roofs, give the city an anime-like appearance. Despite the lack of official confirmation, the striking resemblances to some Attack on Titan settings have led to the town's rise as a popular spot for anime fans. However, Nordlingen's charm extends well beyond its similarity to an anime. Its connection to space exploration adds a unique feature to its appeal. This can be traced back to the town's origin, when a meteorite struck 15 million years ago. The impact gave birth to the massive Nördlinger Ries crater and led to the formation of swevlites, rocks containing tiny diamonds. These rocks were accidentally incorporated into the town's architecture by settlers. Local geologists estimate that the town's structures house roughly 72,000 tons of diamonds, earning Nordlingen the nickname Diamond City. The meteorite crash didn't just shape the town's buildings, but also transformed its natural environment. Around the crater's rim are forests thriving in the fertile soil of an ancient salt lake formed by the impact. What's more, abandoned mines scattered across the landscape attract planetary scientists for research on potential space rocks. The tower of St. George's Church also displays a gallery of photographs and documents related to American researchers who visited the town. Whether you're a casual tourist, an anime fan, or a space enthusiast, Nordlingen provides an exciting journey like no other. In this place where fantasy merges with reality, every corner eagerly awaits your exploration. Okay, guys, we're going to be talking about how fantasy meets reality in Nordlingen, which is a German town, and it's a very ancient German town. It dates back to the Middle Ages, which is really cool if you like history. But for those of you out there who also love anime or comic books, you'll be interested to hear that there are some sites in Nordlingen that kind of correlate to what you will read or come across in Attack on Titan, which is a fantasy.
Right, and of course, lots of people travel to Europe because of this fantasy aspect.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd like to go there to see all the old buildings and the cobblestone streets and the big castles and things like that.
I love that stuff.
Or the big cathedrals or whatever. So yes, fantasy meets reality in Nordlingen, and every anime or comic book fan has imagined venturing into the landscapes of their favorite tales. Okay, so that's how we begin our article here. We're talking about someone who is a fan of anime or comic books. So anime, of course, again, are the movies or the TV shows. And then a comic book, of course, is manga, as it's expressed in Japanese, manhua in Chinese.
Or as a lot of foreigners say, manga.
Right, you'll probably hear that more often. And, of course, if you read that kind of stuff or if you watch those kind of shows, you'll think, hey, I'd like to go be a part of that landscape, of that scenery, of those tales, especially in the tales of Attack on Titan, which began actually quite some years ago. My daughter was a fan. She read all their comic books, but she lost interest because she said some of the later editions of Attack on Titan weren't so interesting as the earlier ones, so she lost interest. But, of course, they do have anime of Attack on Titan, and you can see that scenery in there. And yes, this fantasy comes to life in Nordlingen, a German town dating back to the Middle Ages. So again, they've got a lot of old structures there because this is a very old town.
I love old things. So Europe was fun because they have so many old buildings. Their history goes way back. The history in the U.S. isn't quite as old, as you know. So let's talk about this town called Nordlingen. It's a compact town or compact town. This word compact or compact, it can be pronounced either way. The British only say compact if it's an adjective, but it just means something that's arranged in a really tight space. My mom was really good at preparing to go on family vacations. We had a very compact space in the station wagon for 4 kids and a dog and, my parents. So she was really good at putting things in a way that really made use of the small space. So it's not a really big town. It's kind of compact or small. It's very tidy, but it presents a delightful walking tour for visitors. You don't have to get on a tour bus and spend an hour or 2 being driven around a town. You can actually just go on a walking tour. A lot of these really charming, small European towns are like that, which I love because, you don't want to have to rent a car and drive around. If you can just walk around, you can see a lot more, and it just feels more casual and calming and relaxing.
And, of course, if you are a resident of this town, you might get sick of seeing tourists all the time, especially now after COVID. Everybody's got the travel bug, and they're probably all flooding to Europe to go to these little towns. But again, there are lots of things to do there. It presents a delightful walking tour for visitors. At the town center, one can climb St. George's Church and witness the well-preserved medieval city walls from above. Now, medieval refers to the Middle Ages. This word can be pronounced medieval by sneaking another syllable in there. But
no one does it, though.
Yeah, I've never said it that way myself. Yeah. Medieval, just 3 syllables, will be enough. Again, it's well-preserved. These buildings were built during that time, and they're still standing. So, of course, they make some great picture opportunities. And these walls, enclosing houses with orange roofs, give the city an anime-like appearance. So yes, indeed, we've got the city walls here. Of course, in old times, cities were enclosed by a wall. Taipei was actually enclosed by a city wall at one time. I think there's a part of a city wall still standing down in Hengchuan, if I'm not mistaken. It's quite attractive there. Interesting to check out. But yes, indeed, we've got the old city wall there. And of course, when you check out the city walls and the other structures, you see all those orange roofs, which you've probably seen before if you're a big fan of Attack on Titan. Geez, those look familiar. I think I've seen them before.
They're orange tiles, and I think if you look it up online or at the pictures here, you'll see that it's something that you've been exposed to before. But yeah, if you're up high, you'll look down and there's this beautiful scenery and you'll just see all these orange tiled roofs and it's really pretty. Anyway, that's one of the things you can do at the town center. So in the middle of town, you can climb St. George's Church and just take a look with your own eyes. That's why we're using this word witness. If you witness something, you see something with your own eyes. You can look down and see this beautiful scene. And it gives the city an anime-like appearance, as if you're looking down on a scene from an anime.
Right, and it goes on to say, despite the lack of official confirmation, the striking resemblances to some Attack on Titan settings have led to the town's rise as a popular spot for anime fans.
Cool.
So here it says, despite the lack of official confirmation. So despite means even though we don't have this, even though there is a lack of official confirmation, the Japanese artists have not confessed that they got this inspiration from this town.
Yeah.
They haven't really confirmed this, but still we have this striking resemblance to some Attack on Titan scenes. So if something's striking, it really sticks out. You really notice it. For example, if, say, Lin Zhiling comes out with a new dress or something, oh, she looks really striking in that new dress.
Yeah, a lot of people who are attractive but aren't necessarily classically beautiful or handsome will be called striking. Oh, he's so striking. It's something about them. It's not just their looks, but the way they carry themselves and their clothes or whatever. You really want to look. You want to pay attention. So yeah, it's very striking. So we'll often use that. You can also see we're using striking resemblance together. Maybe you look just like your mom or dad. Oh, he bears a striking resemblance to whatever. Or maybe you look like a famous movie star. You know, some people out there have popped up who kind of look like Tom Cruise. And they'll say, oh, he bears a striking resemblance to Tom Cruise. Bear here is B-E-A-R. He bears a striking resemblance to someone. So here it says, even though there's been no official confirmation from the city or even the anime folks, people still think there's a great big resemblance to some of the Attack on Titan settings, and that's why this town is now seen as a popular spot for anime fans to go visit.
Okay, that brings us to the end of the first part of our lesson for today. Let's take a break and listen to our Chinese teacher.
听众朋友大家好，我是安娜。我们今天要带大家去看一下晋级的巨人的场景哦。啊，晋级的巨人那不是漫画吗？真的有这个地方吗？好啦，其实是德国有一个小镇叫做 Nordlingen， 它其实跟那个晋级巨人的场景超像的耶。所以我们今天要来带大家到德国这个地方看看。好，你可以从杂志上面看到很多这个城镇呢很漂亮的一个风景，而且德国真的超美的，好像随便拍照啊都像是故事书里面的那个样子，有没有？不过这篇文章我觉得会有一点难哦，因为其实好多读者都会觉得这个题型是他们觉得最困难的，就叫做文意选择。这个文意选择在框框里有很多的答案要一一的填回去，不过还好一个萝卜一个坑啦吼，有时候不知道的话猜猜就碰碰运气。我们同样呢一样照例的先看一下这些选项当中有没有需要特别注意的。我们在作答的时候也是先看一下选项啊，扫描一下，至少知道哪个字是什么意思，大概是什么词性，放哪里比较合适。例如说像是 A 选项的 witness， 这个字就本身动名词同一个字哦，亲眼看到或者是证人的意思，所以它有可能在句子是个动词，或者指的是一个亲眼目击的证人。接下来的 C 选项要看你怎么念啊。如果你念 estimate， 它是动词估计；如果你念 estimate， 它就是名词，也是估计估算的意思。所以还是要判断一下句子到底是动词还是名词。再来 D 选项的 related to something， to 是介系词哦，跟什么什么有关。好，再来 F 呢，这个字感觉好像不是很熟悉。enthusiast 这个是狂热分子的意思，如果把后面换成 iam 结尾，变成 enthusiasm， 就变成有狂热，就是相当喜欢的意思。那在这里的 F 的 enthusiast 指的是狂热分子。好，我们接着就来看一下文章咯。文章一开始我们就看到从晋级的巨人这边来看那当然如果你很喜欢这个动漫的话，这个漫画或者动漫，你一定会很想要去那个场景看看，对不对？因为其实在 Nordlingen 它几乎就是一个那个场景。那 Nordlingen 是哪里呢？它就是一个德国的小镇。好，我们可以追溯至它从中世纪一直开始到现在，已经好几百年了。不过在第一段的第二句这个地方我们看到有一个关系子句的简化。关系子句的简化的关系句呢，关系子句从后面的 dating 一直到句尾的地方先行词是前面的 a German town， 其实还包括逗点之前的Nordlingen， 因为 Nordlingen 之后逗点的 a German town 是它的同位语嘛，其实指的就是这个 Nordlingen 这个德国的城镇后面的 dating back to 的 dating 还原的话是 which dates back to。 date back to 这个片语它本身可以用主动哦，就指的是某一个事件、某一个地方、某一个城镇可以往回走到什么时候，所以它不需要用被动。好，在这边它的关系子句简化就直接动词变成 ing 就好。那当然接下来第三句就看到了第一格这个地方你可以有一个什么样的走路，对于游客来说如果我们要介绍这个地方，然后又讲晋级的巨人，应该是很开心我们可以在那边走来走去逛逛，对不对？好，至少你要判断得出第一格是个形容词吧，形容词找一找。B 选项或者是 E 选项的 massive 巨大的，不是 B 就是 E， 走路哪有什么 massive 巨大，所以应该是 B 没有错，大概就是这样子的一个解题的技巧。好，但是接着呢，我们要来看一下第四句哦。第四句这个地方，为什么答案要选那个答案呢？先分解一下这个句子。在第四句这个地方，他说是在城镇中心，大家可以 climb 爬上圣乔治教堂，然后从高处去看一下保存很完好的中世纪的这些城墙哦。其实在句子当中 and 连接的是前面的动词 climb 跟后面的动词要什么完好保存的这一些中古世纪的 walls 这一些城墙，所以第二个应该是一个动词，应该有看一看的意思，所以第二题答案选 A， 而且在这里是动词哦。接下来同样第一段在第五句这个地方，我们从逗点之后开始，其实也是关系子句的简化。Enclosing 的 enclose 是动词，所谓环绕的意思。还原的话，它本来是 which enclose， which 是什么呢？当然是先行词前面的，就是这些城墙环绕着围绕着这些房屋，而且房屋还有橘色的屋顶哦，很漂亮。那接下来最后面我们看到的是第三格前面有一个形容词的 official， 虽然缺少了官方的什么，但是它与晋级的巨人的场景真的是非常相似所以动漫迷都好喜欢去。所以虽然缺少官方的什么，那个什么应该是一个名词，一个概念，所以名词回过头来看看名词 G architecture 建筑， H confirmation 确认， J 这个 similarity 相似之处应该是 H 哦。虽然没有官方认证说这个地方呢就是我们晋级巨人版的场景，虽然没有官方认证，没有人这么说，可是因为真的很像所以很多的 fans 都很喜欢，这样文艺才是通顺的。
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, everybody. Let's continue to talk about Nordlingen, which is a town in Europe, in Germany to be specific. And it bears a striking resemblance to some of the scenes in Attack on Titan, even though the artists of this particular series of comic books have not confirmed this is where they got their inspiration. But still, it does look close enough, and it's incentive enough for people to go there to travel if you are a big fan of Attack on Titan. And here in the next paragraph, it says, however, Nordlingen's charm extends well beyond its similarity to an anime. So yes, indeed, there are other things to check out in Nordlingen besides those orange roofs. For example, its connection to space exploration adds a unique feature to its appeal. Interesting. It has some kind of aspect of space exploration, and this can be traced back to the town's origin when a meteorite struck 15 million years ago. So that's its connection to space exploration. A meteorite struck there 15 million years ago. Maybe it was an asteroid or something like that. A meteorite is usually something that flies through the atmosphere. It's a piece of rock that flies through the atmosphere. And, of course, a meteorite is one that actually hits the ground, okay? A meteor is one that doesn't, okay? It's just in the sky. You see a flash of light, but it doesn't hit the ground. But a meteorite or an asteroid does.
And more than 90% of meteorites are made of rock, while the remainder, that would be the 10%, consist almost fully or partly of iron and nickel. Very interesting. And I didn't know that. I didn't know that the meteors were the ones that stayed in the sky, and the meteorite actually has to come down and hit Earth. Now I know. I'm not really interested in space, but I know Tom is. So it struck a long time ago, 15 million years ago, and the impact gave birth to the massive Nordlinger Reese crater. And that led to the formation of Swevides, which are rocks containing tiny diamonds. When I saw that, I immediately thought of all the people who, when they found this out, that this rock had tiny diamonds in it, ran to see if they could get rich, by getting the diamonds out of the rocks. You have to take a look. They're teeny tiny. I'm not sure that you would make a lot of money doing that. But good luck to those who want to try. I'm sure there are laws preventing that. Impact here just means when it hits something. So the impact. So a meteorite, when it hits Earth, boy, there's a huge impact. It created a crater, a big hole. If you look online, there's some videos about this area. Some are in German, which is okay. I just wanted to see what it looked like. And it's a huge crater. They pronounce it Nordlinger Reese crater. And if something forms, it comes together, and it led to the formation of this really interesting type of rock called Swevides. It is a rock that consists of melted material, and it's usually formed from some of those meteorites. It's kind of cool.
And a crater, of course, is kind of a bowl-shaped depression in the Earth's surface or in the surface of the moon. Of course, the moon has tons of craters, and the Earth supposedly does too. We can't really see them because of the action of the Earth's crust and continental drift and stuff like that, so lots of craters just get filled in, but they're still there. And because of that impact, we have this crater, and that led to the formation of Swevites, which are rocks which contain tiny diamonds. And, of course, they're probably of no use to people because they're so small that your girlfriend or your fiancé would probably laugh at you if you suggested putting a tiny little bit of diamond on her finger. Diamonds have to be much bigger to be valuable. And these rocks were accidentally incorporated into the town's architecture by settlers. So people who settled this town, they moved there and they saw the rocks there. They probably were unaware that the rocks contained diamonds. So they accidentally used those rocks rocks, they incorporated those rocks into the town's architecture. So if something's done accidentally, you don't do it on purpose. It's just something that happens as a result of other actions. I accidentally bumped into my friend Roger the other day and he fell down. But in this particular case, they accidentally incorporated the rocks into the architecture. To incorporate just means to put something inside of something else. In other words, they used these rocks to build walls and houses and things like that.
Yeah, maybe you're writing a paper and you think you finished this great research paper, but your professor says, I think you should incorporate some of my suggestions into the final version that you write and turn in. So you're going to add them to something else. You have to have something first, and if you incorporate something else into it, it's added later. So yeah, they actually used some of these rocks called suevites into building some of the buildings that are there. So it's kind of cool. And again, as Tom said, settlers are people who move to a new area and put down roots. They're going to create a new town or a new village. Local geologists estimate that the town structures house roughly. Now, notice here we're using house as a verb. Don't pronounce it house. If it's a verb, to say this is where you're going to put something, it's house with a Z. House roughly 72,000 tons of diamonds. That's a lot of diamonds if you could all put them together. But this has earned Nordlingen the nickname of Diamond City. You can see why they'd call it that. A geologist is a scientist who studies the Earth's physical structure and substance, typically the crust and the rocks of the earth. My dad was a geologist and was always looking at different rocks and structures. When I was growing up, it was kind of fun. So this particular town has a cute nickname, Diamond City. I bet people go there too to see why it's called Diamond City.
And here in the next paragraph it says, the meteorite crash didn't just shape the town's buildings, but also transformed its natural environment. So yes, we've got the meteorite crashing there, and they used the rocks there to build these buildings, but it also transformed or changed the natural environment of the place. To transform just means to change something from one form into another. So it's different there in terms of the environment. If you can observe rock formations or different kinds of plants and things like that, you'll notice a difference compared to other parts of Germany or, for that matter, the rest of the world.
Yeah, and it says here, around the crater's rim are forests thriving in the fertile soil of an ancient salt lake formed by the impact. So here the rim is the edge of that crater. We also use rim to talk about the edge of a teacup. Sometimes it's rimmed in gold. Here we're talking about forests that are thriving because the soil is so fertile. If something's fertile, it means something will grow well there. A lot of soil that we're planting our crops in isn't as fertile as it used to be years ago. So our vegetables aren't giving us the vitamins that we used to get like 30 years ago. So what's more, abandoned mines where they would go in and dig for minerals like coal and different types of metals, they're scattered across the landscape, and they attract planetary scientists who are doing research on potential space rocks. So you got a lot of scientists going to the area to see what kind of rocks coming from space are there.
Right, so of course they are attracted to the fact that a meteorite hit there millions of years ago, and they know that there are different kinds of soils there, different kind of minerals there as a result. So those planetary scientists go there to do some research on potential space rocks. In other words, they want to learn about what kinds of rocks are there in the ground in Nordlingen, and therefore they may be able to come up with some ideas about how other meteorites are formed or how they formed in the past during the formation of the solar system or whatever. And the Tower of St. George's Church also displays a gallery of photographs and documents related to American researchers who've visited the town. I don't think only American researchers have been there. Probably some researchers from other countries have gone there as well. But of course, researchers are people who do research. They're looking for information for whatever purpose, probably to write some kind of dissertation or some kind of thesis for their university degree. But a researcher, of course, probably works for a university, and they're just trying to gather information so they could publish an article in a scientific journal.
So whether you're a casual tourist or an anime fan, for those of you out there that actually like Attack on Titan, or maybe you're a space enthusiast, a space fan who loves anything that has to do with space, Nordlingen provides an exciting journey like no other. So in this place where fantasy merges with reality, every corner eagerly awaits your exploration. It sounds like a fun place. Now, merge is one of our vocabulary words. It just means one thing is combining with something else. Maybe your company is merging with another company to become an even bigger multinational corporation. So merge, you take one thing and you combine it with something else. You'll often see this sign in English, if you're on any roads in America, it'll say merge. You're merging with traffic, so you're coming into a freeway, a highway, and there are already cars on the road, but you have to wait your turn until it's safe to go in or merge with other traffic.
Yeah, it's kind of unwritten, but when you merge with other traffic, you just go one car at a time. The left car, the right car, the left car.
Right.
That seems to be the courteous thing to do. And yes, indeed, you have all these things mixed together in this town. And you've got fantasy merging with reality, so every corner eagerly awaits your exploration. It does sound like an interesting place to go, but because it's so interesting, it's going to attract so many tourists, I think I'm going to stay away from it myself, even though it's probably fascinating, but I just hate touristy places. Maybe you feel differently. Okay, that brings us to the end of our explanation for today. Here comes our Chinese teacher.
好，那接下来我们就要真的谈到了，当然Nordlingen 如果真的只是因为跟晋级的巨人相似的话，那可能就太单调了。其实啊，它还有另外一个很特别的独特的特色哦，就是因为在1500万年前呢，有一个陨石撞击这个地方，然后造成有很大的一个 crater， 就是一个陨石坑。那陨石坑呢，就造成了有很多很多微小钻石的一种岩粒的形成，然后后来大家在盖房子的时候，就把这种有钻石的岩粒盖在他的房子里面，所以其实他们的建筑物里面有很多很多的钻石在里面，有72000吨的钻石，所以 Nordlingen 根本就是个钻石城耶。这个是第二段的大意。不过在这里可能要特别注意，第4句跟第6句都有关系子句的简化。第4句关系子句简化的先行词是前面的 rocks 后面的 containing 到句尾可以左右括号起来。当然它省略的是它这个简化之前是 which contain， 这些岩石包含很多的小钻石。那在第6句这个地方也有关系子句的简化哦，在逗点之后的 earning 还原是 which earns。可是你就想啦，这里的汇取是什么呢？汇取是不是它正前方的72000吨的 diamonds 呢？文意很通顺。为什么会特别这样问啊？因为逗点之后的汇取有时候会代替的是逗点前面整句话的意思哦。所以当我们看到逗点之后的汇取，都要稍微判断一下，是不是它正前方的那个东西呢？所以没错，很多的钻石就让 Nordlingen有这个名字，就叫做 Diamond City。这个是通顺的 OK。 所以接下来当然就讲到说陨石撞击嘛，陨石既然撞击之后，除了建筑物之外，其实自然环境整个也都改变啦。比如说呢，整个这个在 crater 周围啊，就是会有很肥沃的土壤嘛，所以就会有很多长了很多森林，很茂密。不过呢，在圣乔治的教堂啊，它的顶楼还有展示当时的美国研究人员啊相关的一些照片跟文件。所以其实不管你到底是因为喜欢晋级的巨人，还是因为你想要看看跟这个太空有关，当时陨石撞地球这种景观造成的所谓的这个钻石城呢，其实这个城市都是你可以去的地方。不过最后我们在第3段这边还是要告诉大家，第8题这边 I 选项 scattered across，它不是动词哦，它是一个过去分词。其实在这里是关系子句简化， 第3段第3句前面有一个先行词 abandoned mines， 废弃的这一些矿坑，本来从第8到 the landscape 应该是 that were scattered across the landscape， 被散落在这里的废弃的矿坑，所以8这里的 scattered 它是一个 PP 过去分词。好，或许有空大家可以亲自到德国的小镇去看看。我是安娜，我们下次见。
Thanks for joining us, guys. We hope you'll join us for our next program. For English Digest, I'm Stephanie.
I'm Tom.
Bye-bye.